What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a movie that was released this year and it just became available on VOD. And I actually wanted to check this out in theaters, but life got busy. I just didn't get the opportunity to. And this is from director M. Night Shyamalan. And I've reviewed a couple of M. Night's films on my channel over the years. And I've always been somewhat of an M. Night apologist. I think what I like so much about M. Night as a director is he is so unabashedly him in his movies. And while I don't think all of his films are high quality, I give the man a lot of credit for just taking a lot of swings in his career. And I really did not like Knock at the Cabin. I was a huge fan of Paul Tremblay's book that it was based off of, and I thought Old was a mess. I was not a fan of that movie. There's a lot of people who think that film is intentionally campy, but so much of it comes across as like trying to play it straight and trying to take it very seriously. And I think if it would have leaned heavier into the camp territory, I would have enjoyed it more. But early in M. Night's career, I really like a lot of his work, and I always look forward to checking out whatever he's going to make. And I felt like the trailer, this premise was really fascinating. And I've always liked Josh Hartnett throughout his career, and I was excited to see what he was going to do in this film. And the movie I'm going to be talking about with you today is Trap. Trap is directed by M. Night Shyamalan. A father and teen daughter attend a pop concert where they realize they're at the center of a dark and sinister event. So I was very excited to check this movie out. As I said, I've really enjoyed M. Night's work throughout his career, despite not liking all of his films. And this movie is a ton of fun. It's incredibly stupid, and I'm not going to lie to you. You have to suspend your disbelief about a lot of it. But I feel like this movie leans a lot more into comedy territory than it does genuine thriller territory. And there are some really solid suspenseful moments. I think Josh Hartnett delivers a really excellent performance. It's very schlocky, it's very ridiculous, and I think that's what made it so entertaining for me. It reminded me of a film like The Happening, which is a movie that I feel like was very misunderstood upon its initial release, that going back all these years later and watching it, it's an overt comedy. It is ridiculous, it's over the top. It feels like it's paying homage to films from the late 70s and early 80s. And I'm excited to talk about this movie with you today that I feel like will just gain more appreciation over time. At the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Cooper, played by Josh Hartnett, and his daughter, Riley. And they're going to attend a concert from an artist named Lady Raven, who's actually played by Saleka, who is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. And they're going to the concert. His daughter is super excited about it. And as they're going in, getting their snacks, getting ready to get to their seats, we notice that Cooper is paying very close attention to all of the extra police, security, and SWAT members that are all over the place at the event that they're attending. And he's not 100% sure why there's so much security there. And if you've watched the trailer for the movie, you learn that all the extra police and coverage is there looking for the butcher, who is a serial killer in this community, who just so happens to be Cooper, as we learn in the trailer for the movie. So the entirety of the film is this man at a concert with his daughter, who is secretly a serial killer, trying to escape this concert so that he is not tracked down and taken by the police. So as I said, I thought this movie was wildly entertaining despite being incredibly stupid in moments. There's a lot of suspending your disbelief. There are a lot of moments where you're just like, there's no way he would get out of this situation. How are the cops onto him here? Or like what certain characters' motivations are for things that are just kind of head-scratchingly baffling. But if you can get past that, it just feels like a silly, campy movie that never takes itself too seriously. The first compliment I want to pay is Josh Hartnett is fantastic in this movie. He really does a great job playing the seemingly innocent dad taking his daughter to the concert, and obviously from the trailer we know he's this serial killer, but it's interesting how on a dime he can just change the way that he's appearing based on who he's interacting with. And I think that's so true to when you look at serial killers throughout history and studying these sociopaths and these psychopaths and how they can lie like it's absolutely nothing. And I thought that his performance really showcased that in a very interesting way. There were so many scenes that I thought he did just a great job commanding the screen and really holding your attention as a viewer. I thought Saleka did a really excellent job in this movie. I know M. Night Night has said in a ton of interviews that he made this movie because of his daughter's music career, and she's a very talented vocalist. I really felt like the music that they showcased throughout the film, she did a really fantastic job. Whenever she was acting in the movie, she did a really nice job as well, and I felt like she added a lot to the movie. And all of the other actors that show up do the best that they can with the material that they're given. I was kind of surprised to see Alison Pill show up in this movie, but she also did a really nice job. This movie is fantastically shot. There are a lot of really great sequences in this movie that M. Night pays really close attention to detail to build that suspense up for you or to allude to something that's going to happen in the future. And I really liked that he's back to paying really close attention to detail in cinematography, because that's what I love so much about a lot of his earlier works, whether that's The Sixth Sense or Signs or The Village. Cinematography was such a great vehicle for his storytelling. And throughout the years, I feel like it hasn't necessarily been as important to his storytelling method. And in this movie in particular, the way that the camera moves and how it reveals information to you as a viewer, I respect him a lot for taking the time and effort to put so much into the cinematography. This thing's about an hour and 40 minutes, and I feel like it was pretty well paced. It dragged in a couple of moments, especially at the concert when we would just see long segments of the performance. But I think it's excusable considering the fact that he already said that this was a movie to kind of showcase his daughter's talent. But a lot of my problems with this film involve a lot of the logic, and I'm not going to break it all down because I really don't want to spoil the movie for you if you haven't seen it yet. It's a lot of fun, but logically, there are a ton of moments that just don't make a whole lot of sense and that are so incredibly happenstance. And then the way that Josh Hartnett's character is able to manipulate his way out of a situation, you're just kind of like, no way this would actually happen. Like, it's very ridiculous, especially in the third act. It just ramps up to complete and total absurdity. But I will say, despite some of the sheer stupidity in it, it was fun to watch. It was really entertaining just to kind of see how ridiculous M. Night got. And I like when M. Night doesn't take himself too seriously. I think those are some of my favorite movies. Obviously, I really love The Sixth Sense, but later on in his career, there's a lot of stuff in his work, whether that be The Happening or Lady in the Water, or some of his other movies where he's able to be a little bit more lighthearted and kind of goof off a little bit, that I enjoy. And obviously, there are moments that are meant to be taken seriously here, but I think a lot of the goofy, more like light comedic bits make the movie such an enjoyable watch. I will say some of the dialogue in this movie is atrocious. There are certain lines of dialogue that are delivered that it's just like, are these even human beings? Like, it's just so ridiculously dumb. And I was kind of just scratching my head at some of the moments, but I think that's a lot of the enjoyment factor in this movie, is just not taking it too seriously and just being along for the ride. And I honestly wasn't expecting where it went in the third act. They kind of dive into a territory that I don't want to spoil it, like I said, but there's some references paid to some other material toward the third act that kind of took me by surprise. And I'm sure you'll pick up on it while you're watching the movie. But I was surprised that M. Night kind of, it seemed like he was pulling from something else, especially towards the very tail end of the film. I think that if you enjoy fun, entertaining, suspenseful movies that don't take themselves too seriously, I think you'll have a lot of fun with Trap. And I think it's one of my favorite things he's released probably since Split. Split's obviously much more straightforward, very psychological and thrilling, but this is the most fun I've had with one of his movies in a few years. So have you seen Trap? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed myself despite the numerous amount of flaws that it has. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.